Hey everybody, welcome back to the Print 3D channel. Today is October 31st, and that means day 304 of the 3DP 365 project. And on today's episode, we wrap up a really cool month of printing out stuff for Halloween with this very cool raven skull, so stick around. Hey everybody, welcome back, and thank you for joining me here for day 304 of the 3DP 365 project. It's also October 31st, so that means the very last day of printing out really cool stuff for Halloween. And on today's episode, the raven skull. And our print turned out perfect. I am super stoked about this. This is a beautiful, beautiful print, and it's an awesome model too. It was a little difficult to print because it did require some strategic support material, because some of the parts of the model are actually built on the support material. In particular, this beak. And the beak turned out perfect. I am very happy with the results. I really love this model. I was super worried about printing this too, and I've been debating whether or not to print it. And I finally had my retraction settings dialed in, so I was confident enough, because the base of this is actually covered with a dirt-like texture. And that is a ton of retraction. There is so much going on there. I was so worried that this would be a spaghetti mess by the time it got just above that. I did use multiple processes for this print too. I did go into Simplify 3D version 4.0 and use the variable settings wizard to use a larger amount of infill and a quicker speed for the base part. And as soon as we got past all this retraction stuff, I slowed it down to a lower speed and I reduced the infill amount just to make the print a little bit shorter. We did scale this model up to 125% of actual size. I was going to scale it up a little bit bigger, but even with the variable settings wizard setting, it was going to be a 25-hour to 30-hour print, and that wasn't going to make it for this morning's or for today's print. And I really wanted you guys to see this, so I decided on 125% scale. And we downloaded this model from My Mini Factory. Now you might see this link over on Thingiverse, but it's not the original model. The original model you'll find in the description for this video. And it's actually designed by a gentleman, and I'll get his name right. His name is Sebastiano de Grazia, and I wanted to give him full credit for this because this is a beautiful, beautiful model. It was actually an entry into the 2014 Halloween design competition, and the category was the Curiosity Cabinet. And I don't know if he won or not, but I think he should have, because this is a beautiful model. I mean, there was so much work put into this. For 3D printing, mind you, too. This was actually designed for 3D printing. So it's actually set up to be 3D printed. Now you may use lasers and glue or FDM or however you want to print this, but if you do print it, it's worth it because it is a beautiful, beautiful model. Our print took about 17 hours to print, so that's not too bad with my variable settings. I did use a 0.2 millimeter layer height with 4 top layers, 3 bottom layers, and 3 perimeters. For the base, I used 15% infill, and for the rest of the model, I only used 7% infill because I wanted to save some plastic and some time and give you guys a really cool print. And I did put in a lot of custom support material. I'll show you a little photograph right here of all the support material before I pulled it off. And you can see I put in a large piece of support material here because the beak is entirely built on support material, so it's super important. Also, for the feathers coming out the back of the raven here, there's some flat areas that will air print, so you will need them. They're super, super thin, and they're worth saving because of using support material. And our print turned out perfect, even with the support material scarring on the bottom. It adds a little bit more character to it. The other place I added a little bit of support material was underneath the bones here for the skull that he's standing on. And also, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this model before, but there's a very tiny little mouse that I believe this raven is actually looking at for food coming out of one of the little skulls. Now, I don't know if you guys can see that or not. I'll try and let the camera focus on it. But there's a little tiny mouse in there, and I put a little bit of support material underneath him to make sure he turned out perfect. And he actually did turn out awesome. So there's a lot of support. There is a lot of care that needs to be taken to printing this model, but it's well worth it. It is a beautiful, beautiful print. We use some of that AMZ 3D black filament, and it really looks awesome on this model. It's got a nice, real, semi-shiny coat. It's not super shiny, but it's shiny enough to make it look really, really cool. And this is a perfect addition to all of our Halloween stuff. I mean, this is a beautiful model. I love the way this looks. All the characteristics and detail that Sebastiano put into the sculpt of this model came out on our 3D print. My gMax did a stellar job. I am super impressed. I really love this a lot. And like I said, This is going to make a super cool addition to all of our cool Halloween prints for the month, and this is a really cool way to wrap up the month too. Well, that about wraps it up for day 304 of the 3DP 365 project. I hope you guys found this episode interesting and informative, and if you're looking for ways to support the channel, check out the affiliate links down in the description. If you make a purchase through any of those links, it'll really help out the channel, and I really appreciate it. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, comment, like, and share those videos, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for more cool prints.